A console generation is the most meaningful unit of time in gamers' lives. From when a console first goes on sale to when it disappears into bargain bin oblivion, this epoch is a special time for gamers it touches. It can encompass an entire adolescence or even an entire gaming career. The generation we've just lived through has been remarkable. It was far longer than usual, over 8 years. But most remarkable of all was that it ushered in a new paradigm of gaming, the age of high definition. The new console generation officially kicked off in Australia on March 23, 2006 with the launch of the Xbox 360. Its launch titles boasted impressive 720p graphics. Perfect Dark Zero, Cameo, Elements of Power, Call of Duty 2. They may seem quaint by today's standards, but in 2006 they rocked our socks off. The custom PowerPC chip at the heart of Microsoft's new console made those old-fashioned original Xbox games pale in comparison. Some early 360 titles revelled in showing off how many detailed characters could appear on screen at once, while others were show ponies for slick effects. The Xbox 360 era really got going with the launch of Gears of War in November 2006. During the console's development, Microsoft execs chose to double the RAM when they saw just how much better the chainsaw guns and alien guts would look with half a gig to harness. Shaky cam, viscera, and above all, impact, Gears was iconic and instantly became the flagship series of the 360. It arrived just in time for Nintendo to blindside the entire industry with the Wii.
We would like to play.
Going on sale in November 7, 2006, this console only offered standard definition graphics, and it lacked the horsepower of the 360 and the PS3, yet that didn't matter because it offered a new kind of experience. The effortless motion control of Wii Sports drew in hordes of newcomers to the hobby, people who didn't even consider themselves gamers. And later, Super Mario Galaxy would take our notion of 3D platforming for a spin once again, reminding us just how revolutionary Nintendo can be when they try. The Wii was a sensation. Shops couldn't keep it in stock. It was the hot item for Christmas 2006. It was a game changer. Now in the Wii's shadow, the PlayStation 3 launched on March 23, 2007, and it didn't quite live up to Sony's early promises. It had one HDMI output, half a gig of RAM, and in place of the DualShock was the 6-axis. Its limited motion sensing ability now seeming like a pale imitation of the Wii remote. The PS3's launch lineup failed to electrify gamers. Resistance, Fall of Man, and Ridge Racer 7 were passable, but it didn't quite feel like the new gen of PlayStations had truly arrived. It wasn't until late 2007 that the PS3 really found its groove. One of the loudest heralds of this new era in entertainment was Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. In creating this swashbuckling epic, developer Naughty Dog realised that the PS3 would let them make far more detailed character models than in the days of the PS2. The PS3 let them graduate from talking animals to realistic humans, and naturally they sculpted realistic drama to match.
God damn it, this is not worth dying over.
Okay.
While slow to find its feet, the PS3 did have one killer advantage over the 360, built-in Blu-ray playback. Microsoft picked the wrong side in the war of the high-def video discs, and the HD DVD add-on for the 360 was soon swept under the rug. After a year or so on the market, the PS3 and the 360 had cemented this new era of high-def storytelling. But the new generation brought other innovations as well, not least the complete integration of gaming with the social networks of our online meta lives. Consider achievements. These arbitrary awards for game progress have no real value, but that didn't make our obsession over collecting these Chivos any less real.
Hey, what's that? You guys tracking my every move now?
The PS3 lacked this feature at launch, but introduced trophies in July 2008. One 360 feature that Sony never got around to copying was interchangeable faceplates. Sure, they seem pretty silly now, but in those heady days they made perfect sense. And while wasteful, such frivolities paled before the very real hardware issue that plagued the 360 at launch and for years afterwards, the red ring of death. The dreaded crescent of red LEDs that signalled a malfunctioning console. The first production models of the 360s had a failure rate of over 30%. It wasn't uncommon for customers to return their defective machines machines, only to be given duds in exchange. The fault was traced to an overheating graphics chip and the use of a solder that would warp and crack. Dismayed gamers also found that the DVD-ROM drives in early models would sometimes gouge their discs. On July 5, 2007, Microsoft admitted that something was awry when it announced a 3-year replacement warranty for malfunctioning 360s. The firm estimated the cost of this move would exceed $1 billion. Sony faced its own set of issues as well. The PS3 was notoriously difficult to program for, and in April 2011, the entire PlayStation network was hacked, risking the personal details of all 77 million PSN account holders. Microsoft and Sony launched their own motion controllers in late 2010, yet the Kinect and the Move didn't quite capture the imaginations the way that the Wii did when it was new, and they arrived in time to compete in a market increasingly saturated with peripherals. Guitar Hero launched in 2005 and Rock Band landed in 2007, creating a mini industry in music gaming overnight. Yet they fell out of favour in the long run as players found mastering these instruments was ultimately a hollow experience. In March 2010, Activision sent the Tony Hawk series to its grave by bundling the game with a ridiculous plastic skateboard controller. But by far the biggest peripheral failure was the U-Draw in 2011. THQ executives convinced themselves that punters would love to play their favourite games on a graphics tablet. Sadly, the sales were so abysmal that some say it ultimately caused the demise of THQ itself. Other institutions once thought Immortal imploded. LucasArts, Chrome, Studio Liverpool. Yet as old institutions faded away, new ones were born and developers kept finding new ways to innovate. Perhaps the biggest revolution was the shift towards downloadable games. We take it for granted now, but in 2005, downloading console games was a new and radical idea. Geometry Wars was included as a joke in Project Gotham Racing 2, but the fans loved it, and the sequel was more than a success. It was an international obsession. Digital distribution freed games from the prison of physical media. So long as it was available to download, no game was ever sold out or out of print. All three consoles had vibrant online marketplaces where retro classics could be bought on a whim. This in turn led to the next great revolution of the last gen, the rise of independent developers. Sony and Microsoft soon realised that nurturing indies was an inexpensive way to publish killer apps, and by the 2010s, indie hits like Journey and Fez were drawing in more gamers with their unique artistic visions. Children of all ages fell head over heels for Minecraft, making its creator a millionaire overnight. At the other end of the spectrum, the blockbusters kept on getting bigger. Games became more mature, more empowering, more confronting, more cosmic, more majestic. With cinematic presentation, games could be artistic or excessive or anything in between. As we look back on this past console generation, it seems amazing that it's lasted for so long. It's a different world now. 2006 feels like a lifetime ago. Yet it doesn't feel like these systems have worn out their welcome. Flashy new graphics are no longer the be-all and end-all. We now look for new experiences, new emotions, new visions of what gaming can deliver. Over the past console generation, the gaming hobby grew up, and so did we.
Merry Christmas to Good Game from me, Kevin Short, and everyone at Ubisoft.